Let's discuss global socioeconomic stratification. Inequality refers to the uneven distribution of income, wealth, and opportunities among the world's population. While some levels of inequality is natural, the current degree of inequality globally is extreme and massively consequential. A handful of the richest people control more wealth than the poor half of humanity combined. The gap between the richest and the poorest countries is staggering. The wealthiest nation has over 400 times the per capita income of the poorest. Even within countries, the top 10% may control 70% of the national wealth. This inequality perpetuates poverty, lack of economic mobility, poor health and education outcomes, political instability, and social unrest. Its root causes include factors like globalization, technology, market failures, power imbalances, and discriminatory policies. Ultimately, this level of inequality is ethically untenable and pragmatically destabilizing. Achieving the UN's Sustainable Development Goals requires significantly reducing inequality through progressive policies, fair distribution of resources, equal opportunities, and inclusive economic growth benefiting all of humanity. Global socioeconomic stratification refers to the hierarchical arrangement of countries and populations worldwide based on economic status, wealth, and social power. It highlights the inequalities between developed, affluent nations and developing poor nations. This stratification impacts access to resources, opportunities, and quality of life. Factors such as income, education, and health vary significantly across different regions, creating a global pattern of inequality. Understanding global socioeconomic stratification helps in analyzing how wealth and power are distributed globally and the effects of these disparities on people's lives and opportunities. Global stratification highlights how personal experiences are linked to broader political and economic structures. Systematic discrimination rather than individual failings often result in the underrepresentation of marginalized groups in government and economic power centers. This stratification leads to extreme poverty and widespread inequality, which are not randomly distributed but are concentrated in specific regions and communities. These patterns reflect deeper systemic issues that perpetuate disadvantage and limit opportunities for affected populations. Understanding global stratification underscores the need to address these structural inequities to foster more equitable and inclusive societies. Global stratification involves the unequal distribution of resources where wealthier individuals and nations benefit most. This inequality impacts societal and global development, shaping economic disparities and life chances. Ideally, an economy should ensure adequate means of survival such as food, water, shelter, and health for all people. However, the global economy often fails to do so, exacerbating income and wealth disparities. Gross national income, or GNI, differences highlight these disparities, showing vast inequalities between and within countries. Sustainable development requires addressing these issues without compromising essential resources like air, water, and land, vital for health and long-term survival. Wealth inequality within countries significantly limits opportunities for success, functioning like discrimination and harming both individuals and society. Middle and low-wage workers lacking access to surplus income struggle to build wealth, leading to diminished life chances. This growing inequality stifles potential and perpetuates cycles of poverty, negatively impacting social cohesion and economic stability. By denying many people their full life chances, wealth inequality not only undermines individual potential, but also hinders societal progress and functionality. Addressing this issue is crucial for fostering equitable opportunities and a healthier, more inclusive society. Global poverty and inequality profoundly affect individuals' lives, heavily influenced by the society into which one is born. Wealthier societies can invest more in human capital, providing better education, health, nutrition, and welfare programs, which enhance individuals' life chances and overall well-being. Additionally, wealth enables investment in physical capital such as advanced machinery and infrastructure, boosting productivity and economic growth. Wealth also allows countries to recover more quickly from unforeseen events like natural disasters, extreme weather, and economic shocks. Therefore, reducing global poverty and inequality is crucial for fostering resilient, thriving societies that offer equitable opportunities for all. Increasing divergence in income and wealth results in increasing divergence in life chances. The United Nations Development Program measures various indicators affecting quality of life and life chances, forming the Human Development Index, or HDI. The foundation of life chances include good health, appropriate education, nutritious food, adequate shelter, and sufficient wealth and income, supported by security, equality, a healthy environment, a vibrant social and political communities. Life expectancy at birth, expected years of schooling, mean years of schooling, and GNI per capita are key HDI indicators reflecting general well-being. The HDI and a country's economic status significantly influence a person's life chances, often more than individual talent and ambition. People in low HDI countries lack the same opportunities for education, health, and job prospects as those in high HDI countries, regardless of their hard work and intelligence. Consequently, securing better life chances drives migration to higher HDI and income countries. Even within wealthy countries, income inequality stifles intergenerational upward mobility, fostering feelings of hopelessness and social disaffection. It impedes economic growth, breeds social resentment, and can generate political instability. Countries that allocate more resources to public goods such as education, health, and infrastructure improve life chances and well-being. Conversely, prioritizing private consumption benefits only individuals, whereas investing in public goods benefits the entire population, enhancing overall societal outcomes. Addressing inequality by investing in public goods is crucial for fostering equitable opportunities and improving life chances for all. Development to economic transitions involves shifting from primary agricultural to secondary manufacturing and eventually to tertiary services sectors. The process is crucial for lifting people from extreme poverty to low income, highlighting the structural violence of inequality as per Wilkinson and Pickett, 2009. Traditionally, a developing society undergoes economic transitions that spur growth. The tertiary sector is divided into low-level, low-skilled jobs and highly skilled, educated occupations. Technological advances drive the transition by replacing low-skill work with efficient machines and robotics, moving the labor force into service roles. As manufacturing shifted from advanced to less developed nations in the late 19th century, it provided a second development opportunity. Despite the common misconception that poor people lack work ethic or entrepreneurial talent, those in low development areas often work harder for less money. Wages, the primary income source in both developed and developing societies, depend on available job opportunities and the occupational structure. Inequality in wages and job distribution underscores the challenges faced by those in developing regions. To foster equitable development, it is essential to recognize that hard work alone isn't enough. Economic transitions must create higher paying, skilled job opportunities, and ensure fair wages to improve life chances for people globally. By addressing structural inequalities and investing in technology and education, society can better support their populations and promote sustainable economic growth. Extractive institutions, which concentrate power and resources within a small elite, significantly contribute to inequality and hinder development. Societies with inclusive institutions, where rights and opportunities are widely shared, are more likely to industrialize successfully. These inclusive institutions encourage investment and protect private property, facilitating development as seen in the Americas, Australia, and New Zealand. Research by Nunn, 2007, highlights the long-term impact of colonialism on development, revealing that extractive practices such as land appropriation, oppressive tax systems, and forced labor stifled growth. In contrast, settler colonialism, characterized by a higher proportion of European settlers, often led to more inclusive institutions and higher levels of development today. Inclusive institutions that secure property rights and promote broad-based economic participation create incentives for individuals to innovate and adopt new technologies. Conversely, extractive institutions limit these opportunities, perpetuating inequality and stifling economic progress. Thus, the type of institutions a society develops plays a crucial role in shaping its economic trajectory and level of inequality. Addressing the legacy of extractive institutions is essential for promoting equitable development and reducing global disparities. Diversity's impact on development varies significantly between rich and developing countries. In wealthier nations like the United States and Canada, diversity is often seen as a source of creativity, energy, and entrepreneurship, driving innovation and growth. However, in many developing countries, diversity can inhibit development by exacerbating conflict. During the Cold War and afterward, intra-societal violence across ideological, religious, and ethnic lines has devastated many populations and societies. These contexts, diverse groups often compete for power, diverting focus and resources away from developing institutions and investing in the common good. As a result, only a portion of the population thrives, while others are marginalized. A society cannot prosper if only a segment of its human capital is developed. Inclusive development requires fostering cooperation and equitable investment across all groups. Addressing the challenges posed by diversity in developing countries involves creating institutions that promote unity and shared goals, ensuring that all groups contribute and benefit from economic and societal progress. This approach can help transform diversity into a strength rather than a source of conflict. Corruption is a widespread issue that is closely linked to inequality and underdevelopment around the world. The poorest nations tend to also be the most corrupt, according to the Transparency International's 2022 Corruption Perceptions Index. The data shows that corruption correlates even more strongly with inequality than with income levels alone. In societies where corruption is rampant, especially at the highest levels of power and government, it creates a kleptocracy where the ruling elite systematically loot and steal from the state institutions and the populace. This undermines the legitimacy of the government and further entrenches inequality. One of the key drivers of corruption and inequality in developing countries is the existence of tax havens and illicit financial flows. The report identifies these avenues for hiding and moving ill-gotten gains as potentially the greatest driver, enabling the cycle of corruption and stunting development. Stamping out corruption requires tackling these systemic issues and shutting down the means for elites to siphon wealth from their nations. As long as inequality persists and channels for illicit enrichment remain open, the scourge of corruption will continue holding back economic and social progress across the globe's poorest regions. Paradoxically, many resource-rich countries endowed with valuable commodities like oil or minerals suffer from underdevelopment, a phenomenon dubbed the resource curse. While resource wealth should drive economic growth, it can instead inhibit diversification as investment floods the extraction industries at the expense of other sectors. Moreover, the dependence on volatile commodity prices poses risks. Crucially, the resource curse arises from poor governance. When authoritarian regimes monopolize resource profits to entrench their power instead of investing earnings for public benefit. Ultimately, natural resources are not an inherent curse. Their impact depends on how prudently and equitably they are managed. Engaging in the global economy and international division of labor is crucial for developing nations to escape poverty. A country's integration into the global economy, measured by the ratio of imports and exports to GDP, positively correlates with higher human development. For most countries presently, nurturing domestic manufacturing industries that provide reasonable wages remains a key pathway to economic advancement. Without cultivating their manufacturing base and productive capabilities, countries struggle to make substantive economic progress. While the global economy presents opportunities, harnessing them hinges on building up a nation's manufacturing muscle and productive capacities to participate meaningfully. Governments can enact policies to promote wage growth and more equitable distribution of productivity gains as a means of combating poverty and inequality. Measures like minimum wage reform, collective bargaining rights, worker training programs, R&D incentives, infrastructure investment, and portable occupational licensing can raise labor productivity and wages. Income tax credits for low-wage workers can further boost their take-home pay. Corporations also have a role through fair executive compensation, practicing and sharing ownership via stock options. Beyond just wages, providing true equal life chances and equal opportunity to achieve one's potential is increasingly viewed as a human right. This requires holistic efforts targeting the needs of the poor, women, children, minorities, and other disadvantaged groups. An array of economic policies and social welfare programs is needed to guarantee rights, reduce extreme inequality, supplement labor markets, and address non-economic inequalities. Ultimately, coordinated multi-stakeholder efforts by governments, international organizations, and the private sector are crucial for building an infrastructure for inclusive, sustainable development. These concerted governance activities will determine society's trajectories in combating poverty and inequality. National governments can take direct action to fight poverty and inequality through policies that promote economic growth and tackle inequality head-on. Social protection programs guaranteeing a living wage through decent work opportunities, recognizing unpaid labor, and providing lifelong education and training are key areas for government intervention. International aid organizations also have an important role through better targeted, transparent, and coordinated foreign assistance efforts, reducing fragmentation, increasing aid selectivity, and granting more debt relief to developing nations are potential solutions. The private sector can help by expanding access to financial services like microfinance for the poor. Patient capitalism that takes a long-term view on empowering the poor through sustainable business models and corporate social responsibility initiatives are other potential private sector solutions. More broadly, elevating respect for the poor is crucial, providing them with high-quality goods and services rather than substandard offerings. New mindsets around access over ownership and monetizing assets can also unlock opportunities. Fair trade movements and certification regimes like the World Fair Trade Organization aim to raise consciousness and advocate for putting social goals over pure profit motives. Though challenges remain in living up to fair trade ideals, such efforts are vital for closing inequality gaps globally. Coordinated multi-stakeholder action by governments, international organizations, businesses, and civil society is ultimately needed to enact comprehensive solutions.